I still remember the exact moment my wife said those words during dinner on a Friday night. We were sitting in our cozy house in the suburbs of Austin, Texas, eating the tacos I had made. 5 years of marriage, and I thought we were solid. Then Jessica looked at me with those serious eyes and said, "Let's open our marriage." I laughed at first, thinking it was some kind of joke. But her expression told me she was dead serious. That single sentence changed everything. I had no idea that night would be the beginning of the most painful betrayal I would ever face. Before I tell you how this story unfolds, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your city in the comments below. If you have ever felt betrayed by someone you trusted, hit that like button. And subscribe if you want to hear more real stories about navigating life's toughest moments. Trust me, you will not believe what happened next when I decided to play by her rules. Looking back now, it feels surreal how perfect everything seemed before that conversation. Jessica and I met at a coffee shop in downtown Austin 7 years ago. I was a software engineer working for a tech startup, and she was a marketing manager for a consulting firm. The connection was instant. We bonded over our shared love of hiking, cooking, and terrible comedy movies. Our first date was a road trip to Big Bend National Park, where we spent 3 days camping under the stars. Those were some of the best days of my life. We got married 2 years after we met. The wedding was small, just close friends and family, held at a vineyard outside the city. Our vows were simple but heartfelt. I promised to be her partner through everything, and she promised the same. For the first few years, we were that couple everyone envied. We cooked together every Sunday, took our golden retriever Cooper on long walks, and spent our evenings curled up on the couch watching shows. I genuinely believed we were perfect for each other. We talked about having kids someday, maybe buying a bigger house with a backyard for Cooper to run around in. But around 6 months before that Friday night, things started to shift. It was subtle at first. Jessica began working late more often, saying her boss was piling on extra projects. She would come home exhausted, barely speaking to me before heading straight to bed. Our Sunday cooking tradition stopped. She said she was too tired. The hiking trips we used to take every other weekend became less frequent. When I suggested we go out for date night, she would say she needed to catch up on work or that she was not feeling well. I noticed she was glued to her phone more than usual. She would smile at the screen, typing quickly, then put it away the moment I walked into the room. When I asked who she was texting, she would say it was Diane, her best friend from work, or just someone from her team. I did not think much of it at the time. I trusted her completely. I figured she was just stressed about work and things would go back to normal once the busy season ended. I was wrong. That Friday evening, after we finished eating the tacos I had spent an hour preparing, Jessica poured herself another glass of wine. She sat down on the couch and patted the seat next to her. I joined her, expecting maybe we would finally watch a movie together like we used to. Instead, she turned to me with a look I had never seen before. Nervous, but also determined. "Edwin, I have been thinking," she started. Her voice was calm, but there was something underneath it that made my stomach tighten. "What if we opened our marriage?" I laughed. I actually laughed out loud because I thought she was joking. Maybe she had seen some ridiculous article online and wanted to tease me about it. But when I looked at her face, I realized she was not kidding. "Wait, you are serious?" I asked, setting my beer down on the coffee table. She nodded. "I love you, Edwin. I really do. But we are still young. I think maybe we need to explore a little before we get too comfortable. It could actually make us stronger as a couple." I stared at her, trying to process what she was saying. "Are you not happy with us?" I asked, my voice quieter now. My chest felt tight. "It is not about being unhappy," she said quickly. "It is about being honest with ourselves. I read about this online. Lots of couples do this, and it works for them. We would still be together, still love each other, but we would be honest about our needs." "Our needs?" I repeated, feeling a knot forming in my stomach. "What needs are you talking about?" She sighed, looking down at her wine glass. "I just think we should not limit ourselves. We can set rules, boundaries. It does not have to be messy." "Have you already met someone?" The question came out before I could stop myself. Her eyes shot up to mine. "No, of course not. I am just suggesting we think about it." I did not know what to say. My mind was racing. Why would she bring this up out of nowhere? Were we really that disconnected? Or was there something she was not telling me? "I need time to think," I finally said. She nodded. "Okay, no pressure. Just think about it." That night, I could not sleep. I lay in bed next to Jessica, listening to her breathe, and felt like I was lying next to a stranger. My mind kept replaying the conversation. The way she avoided eye contact when I asked if she had met someone. The way she had been glued to her phone for months. The late nights. The excuses. It all started to feel less like coincidence and more like a pattern. Over the next few days, I tried to act normal, but I was watching her more closely now. I noticed she smiled at her phone constantly. She would disappear into the bathroom for 20 minutes at a time, and I could hear the faint sound of her typing. When I asked who she was talking to, she would always say, Diane. But something felt off. One evening, Marcus came over to watch a football game. Marcus had been my best friend since college. We met freshman year in an engineering class and had been close ever since. He was the one who stood by me through everything. The one I trusted more than anyone. We grabbed a couple of beers, and as the game played in the background, I finally told him what Jessica had suggested. Man, that is wild, Marcus said, his eyes wide. Are you sure she is not already seeing someone? I felt defensive. She would not do that. She said she just wants us to be honest. Marcus shook his head. Edwin, think about it. Why would she bring this up if she did not already have someone in mind? If you do this, you need to set serious boundaries. And honestly, I would not do it if I were you. His words stayed with me long after he left. I wanted to believe Jessica was just going through something, maybe a quarter-life crisis or stress from work. But deep down, I could not shake the feeling that Marcus was right. The following weekend, I made my decision. I could not keep living in this limbo, wondering if my wife was hiding something. So I told her I would try it. Okay, I said as we sat on the back porch watching Cooper chase squirrels in the yard. Let's try it, but we need rules. Her face lit up. Really? You are okay with this? I was not okay with it, but I needed to know the truth. Yeah. But here are the rules. We are always honest with each other. No hiding anything. We stay safe. And it cannot be anyone we know. She nodded quickly. Of course. I promise this will be good for us. Thank you for being open-minded. The words felt hollow, but I forced a smile. A week later, Jessica told me she was going out on Thursday night. She said she had met someone online, just a casual thing, nothing serious. I asked who it was, and she brushed me off, saying it was just some guy she had been chatting with. She got dressed that evening, putting on a black dress I had not seen in months. She sprayed her favorite perfume, the one she used to wear on our date nights. She kissed me on the cheek before walking out the door. I will be back by midnight, she said. I sat on the couch staring at the TV, but not really watching anything. Cooper sat next to me, resting his head on my lap. I kept checking my phone, waiting for a text, anything. She came home at 11:30. Her face flushed, her eyes bright. She looked happy in a way I had not seen in months. How was it? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. It was nice, she said, kicking off her heels. He is a good listener. I nodded, feeling a sharp pain in my chest. That is good. She went to take a shower, and I sat there alone, feeling like my world was crumbling. Over the next 2 weeks, she went out every Thursday. Same routine, same excuse. And every time she came home, she looked a little happier, a little more distant. I tried to bury myself in work, but I could not focus. I kept thinking about who she was, with what they were doing, if she was really being honest with me. Then, everything changed. It was a Wednesday night, and I had been working late at the office. Around 8 in the evening, I decided to leave early and surprise Jessica at home. On my way back, I stopped at Whole Foods to grab some groceries. As I was pulling into the parking lot, I noticed a couple sitting at the outdoor seating area of a cafe nearby. The woman looked familiar. My stomach dropped when I realized it was Jessica. And the man sitting across from her, holding her hand and laughing, was Marcus. I froze. I could not move. I could not breathe. My best friend. My wife. Together. I did not walk over. I did not confront them. I just stood there, hidden behind my car, watching them. Marcus leaned in and kissed her on the forehead. She smiled, the same smile she used to give me. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I got back in my car and drove home. My hands were shaking so hard I almost ran a red light. When I got home, I sat in the driveway for 20 minutes trying to process what I had just seen. It all made sense now. The open marriage. The late nights. The secrecy. She had wanted permission to be with Marcus without guilt. Jessica came home around 10 that night. Hey babe, she said casually. I was just with Diane. We grabbed dinner. "How is Diane?" I asked, my voice flat. "She is good. We talked about work stuff." I did not say anything else. I went upstairs and lay in bed staring at the ceiling. She climbed in next to me a little while later, completely oblivious. My mind was racing. How long had this been going on? Did Marcus know about the open marriage idea before she suggested it to me? Was I the biggest fool in the world? The next morning I called in sick to work. I could not face anyone. I sat in the living room replaying everything in my head. Marcus had asked me so many questions about the open marriage when I told him. He had acted concerned, but now I realized he was just gathering information. Every time Jessica said she was going out, Marcus had conveniently been busy. It was all right there in front of me, and I had been too blind to see it. I made a decision. I was not going to confront them yet. I needed to be smart about this. If Jessica wanted to play games, I would play too, but I would do it my way. I thought about Diane. She had always been kind to me, and I knew she had feelings for me years ago, before Jessica and I got married. Jessica had even joked about it once. I was not the type of person to seek revenge, but this was different. If Jessica could betray me with my best friend, I would show her exactly what that felt like. That evening I told Jessica I wanted to go out too. "Really?" she asked, surprised but pleased. "That is great, Edwin. I am so glad you are embracing this." "Yeah," I said casually. "I think I want to meet someone this weekend." "Anyone I know?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. I shrugged. "Just someone I have known for a while. You will probably hear about it." She did not think much of it. Why would she? She was too busy with her own lies. The next day I texted Diane. "Hey Diane, it is Edwin. Can we grab coffee sometime? I need advice about something." She replied within minutes. "Sure. How about tomorrow, Saturday afternoon?" I met Diane at a coffee shop downtown. She looked surprised but happy to see me. We sat outside the Austin sun, warm on our faces, and I told her what had been going on. I did not mention Marcus yet. I just said that Jessica had wanted an open marriage and I had agreed, but now I realized I needed to live my life too. Diane listened, her expression sympathetic. "I am so sorry, Edwin. Jessica does not know how lucky she is." "Thanks," I said, stirring my coffee. "I just feel like I have been letting life happen to me instead of taking control, you know?" She nodded. "I get that. What are you going to do?" "I am going to start living for myself," I said. Then after a pause I asked, "Would you like to have dinner with me next week?" She hesitated, her eyes searching mine. "Are you sure?" "What about Jessica?" "She is doing her thing," I said. "I am doing mine," Diane agreed. The following Thursday I took Diane to an upscale Italian restaurant downtown. We talked about everything, life, work, dreams, things we never got to discuss before. Diane was smart, funny, and genuine. I realized how much I had missed having real conversations with someone who actually cared. There was no romantic intention behind it. Not really. But it felt good to be seen, to be valued. After dinner, I drove Diane home. She thanked me for the evening, and I kissed her on the cheek before saying goodbye. When I got home, Jessica was sitting on the couch, her face pale. "Diane called me," she said, her voice tight. "She said you two went out tonight." I stayed calm. "Yeah. You said we could see other people. But not Diane," she shouted, standing up. "She is my best friend. And Marcus is mine," I said coldly. "Oh wait, I saw you two together at that cafe 2 weeks ago." Her face went white. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. "You knew," she finally whispered. "The whole time," I said. "You wanted an open marriage so you could sleep with my best friend without feeling guilty." She started crying. "Edwin, I am sorry. It just happened. We did not mean for it to go this far." I laughed, a bitter sound. "Save it. I am done." "What do you mean?" she asked, panic creeping into her voice. "I filed for divorce this afternoon," I said. Her face crumpled. "But I love you." "You love me," I repeated, my voice rising. "You have been sleeping with Marcus for months. It was a mistake," she sobbed. "Please, we can work this out. We could have," I said. "But you chose to lie. You chose to betray me with the one person I trusted most. You do not get to ask for forgiveness now." She collapsed onto the couch, sobbing uncontrollably. I felt nothing. No sadness, no anger. Just relief that I finally knew the truth. Over the next few days, Jessica called and texted constantly. She begged me to reconsider, said she would end things with Marcus, said she would do anything. I did not respond. I moved out of the house and stayed with my older brother in his apartment across town. Jessica had to face the consequences of her actions. Diane cut off their friendship entirely, telling Jessica she had betrayed not just her husband, but also her friends. Marcus, feeling guilty and exposed, refused to continue the relationship with Jessica. Her family found out what had happened and were deeply disappointed in her. She was left alone in the house we once shared, unable to afford the mortgage on her own. Within 2 months, she had to sell it. My lawyer informed me that Jessica had signed the divorce papers without contesting anything. She knew she had no ground to stand on. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I moved into a small apartment in East Austin. It was nothing fancy, just a 1-bedroom with a balcony that overlooked the city skyline. Cooper adjusted quickly, happy as long as he was with me. The first few weeks were hard. I would wake up in the middle of the night, my mind replaying everything that had happened. I questioned myself constantly. Could I have done something differently? Should I have fought harder for the marriage? But deep down, I knew the answer. You cannot fight for someone who has already chosen to walk away. Slowly, I started to rebuild my life. I joined a gym and started working out in the mornings before work. I reconnected with old friends I had lost touch with over the years. I joined a hiking group and spent my weekends exploring trails in the hill country. I even picked up photography, something I had always wanted to try. There was something therapeutic about capturing moments, freezing them in time. Work became a refuge. I threw myself into projects and my dedication paid off. I got promoted to senior engineer, a position I had been working toward for years. My boss pulled me aside one day and said, "Whatever you are doing, keep it up. You have been on fire lately." I did not tell him it was because I had nothing else to focus on. Diane and I stayed in touch, but we never pursued anything romantic. She understood what I was going through, and she respected my need for space. We would grab coffee, occasionally talk about life, but it never went further than friendship, and that was okay. I was not ready for another relationship, and I did not know if I ever would be. I did not hear from Jessica or Marcus again. I blocked their numbers, deleted them from social media, and moved on. Some people stay in your life forever. Others are just chapters that need to close. One evening, about a year after everything had happened, I was sitting on my balcony with Cooper lying beside me. The sun was setting over the city, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. I thought about the man I had been a year ago, the man who had trusted blindly and loved deeply only to be shattered. And then I thought about the man I was now, stronger, wiser, free. I realized something important that night. Betrayal does not just break you. It also reveals who you truly are. It strips away the illusions and forces you to confront the truth. And sometimes the truth is painful, but it is also liberating. I learned that trust is the foundation of everything. Without it, love is just a word. I learned that you cannot control what other people do, but you can control how you respond. And most importantly, I learned that walking away does not make you weak. It makes you strong enough to choose yourself. Jessica gave me a painful lesson, but it was also a valuable one. I do not hate her anymore. I do not even think about her most days. She made her choices, and I made mine. And in the end, I chose my own peace over a relationship built on lies. I thought about all the people out there who might be going through something similar. People who feel trapped, betrayed, or lost. I wanted them to know that it gets better. It does not happen overnight, and it is not easy, but it does get better. As I sat there watching the city lights flicker to life, I felt something I had not felt in a long time. Contentment. Not happiness. Not yet. But contentment. And that was enough. Sometimes the worst betrayals lead to the best transformations. I did not know what the future held. I did not know if I would ever trust someone enough to love them the way I loved Jessica. But I knew one thing for certain. I was free. Free from the lies, free from the pain, and free to love myself in a way I never had before. And that was worth more than any marriage built on deception. If you have ever had to walk away from someone you love to save yourself, you know exactly what I mean. So, let me ask you, have you ever been in a situation where you had to choose between holding on and letting go? How did you handle it? Drop your answer in the comments below. I would love to hear your story. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and share it with someone who might need to hear it. And do not forget to subscribe for more real-life stories about overcoming betrayal, finding strength, and learning to love yourself again. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that no matter how dark things seem, You have the power to choose your own happiness. Take care of yourself and remember you deserve honesty, respect, and real love. Until next time.